The day they put down the weight that wasn't theirs there is a kind of tiredness that sleep does not fix. It comes from carrying blame that was never placed in your hands by life, but somehow ended up there anyway. You tell yourself you should have known. You should have noticed sooner. You should have said the perfect thing, made the right call, been stronger, been faster, been everywhere at once. And because you care, the guilt feels almost noble. But sometimes guilt is not proof that you failed. Sometimes it is only proof that you loved the outcome more than you controlled it. This is the lesson some people learn quietly, after they have done all they reasonably could. You can care deeply without carrying every outcome. Tessa Reed learned it during a thunderstorm at Gate B17. The airport had been tense since noon. Grey clouds pressed against the glass walls, and every few minutes the announcement system delivered another delay in its calm, careless voice. Tessa stood behind the counter with a radio clipped to her belt and a line of tired passengers in front of her. She had explained the same weather hold so many times that the words felt worn thin. Then Mr. Harris stepped up. He was in his late 60s, wearing a brown coat too warm for July. His hands shook as he pushed his boarding pass toward her. "I need to be in Portland tonight," he said. "My daughter is having surgery in the morning. We haven't spoken in 2 years. She called me yesterday." Tessa looked at the screen. His flight was delayed 3 hours. His connection was already gone. She searched every route she could find. Nothing worked. When she explained it, his face changed. The anger came first because it was easier than fear. "So that's it," he said. "You people just say sorry and go home." Tessa felt the words hit somewhere personal. She apologized again. She called another desk. She checked standby lists that were already full. Behind him, the line grew restless. For the rest of her shift, she carried his disappointment like a stone inside her chest. On her break, she stared at the rain running down the windows. She imagined his daughter waking up and looking for him. She told herself she should have found something, but the radar map showed a red wall of storms across half the state. No plane was moving through it. No kindness from her could clear the sky. So Tessa went back to the gate and found Mr. Harris sitting with his coat folded over his knees. She did not apologize for the storm this time. She sat beside him and said, "I can't get you there tonight. I wish I could, but I can help you record a message for her, and I can make sure you're on the first flight out." His eyes filled, and the anger left his face like air leaving a room. He nodded that night. Tessa still cared, but she stopped calling herself cruel for not being able to do the impossible. False guilt often sounds like responsibility. It says, if you were better, no one around you would hurt. But life is wider than one person's hands. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is offer what is real, instead of punishing yourself for what is not. Ben Alvarez learned the same lesson in a community college financial aid office. All day. Students came in with forms, questions, panic, and hope. Ben liked the work because it felt practical. A missing document could be found. A deadline could be explained. A small grant could keep someone in class. One student stayed in his mind more than the others. Her name was Sienna Brooks. She was 23, quiet, and always arrived in a blue pharmacy uniform after the early shift. She wanted to become a respiratory therapist because her little brother had asthma. When her aid file was flagged for verification, Ben sent the emails, left a voicemail, and marked the deadline on a yellow note. He planned to call again on Monday, but Monday became a crisis with another student. Then a staff meeting ran long. Then the note slipped beneath a stack of files. 3 weeks later, Sienna's classes were dropped for non-payment. Ben saw the notice and felt sick. He called her twice. No answer. For days, he replayed every step. He should have called sooner. He should have been the one adult who did not let the system swallow her. When Sienna finally came in, she looked exhausted. Ben began apologizing before she even sat down. She listened, then shook her head. "I wasn't answering anybody," she said. "My grandmother fell, and I started picking up night shifts. I saw the emails. I just couldn't deal with one more thing." The room went quiet. Ben felt something loosen. He had missed a step, but the story was bigger than his mistake. Together, they made a plan. 1 class could be restored. 2 would have to wait until spring. It was not the clean rescue he wanted. Still, it was real. Before she left, Sienna said, "Thank you for not making me feel stupid." Ben kept that sentence. He also kept a better reminder system after that. Responsibility still mattered, but he stopped believing that every student's struggle was his to save. He could open doors. He could explain the map. He could walk beside someone for a while. He could not live their entire life for them. And then there was Mara Whitcomb, who learned the lesson in the hallway of an old brick apartment building. Mara had been the building superintendent for 11 years. She knew which radiator knocked in winter, which mailbox stuck, and which stair complained under heavy shoes. She also knew the tenants. At least she thought she did. Darnell Price, Lived in 3C. He worked maintenance at a hospital and always carried groceries in both hands so he would not have to make a second trip. He paid rent on time for 6 years. He helped older neighbors lift water bottles, so when the eviction notice appeared on his door, Mara stood in the hallway and felt as if the floor had shifted. She knocked. No answer. All week she blamed herself. She remembered the unopened mail near his door, the way he had stopped chatting by the laundry room, the night she heard his television at 3 in the morning. Each memory became evidence. I should have asked. I should have known. I should have done something before the paper came. On Friday, Darnell opened the door. The apartment behind him was half-packed. His face held a careful calm. Mara asked if there was anyone she could call. He looked down and said, "I lost hours when my department changed contractors. Then my car needed work." After a while, hiding felt easier than explaining. Mara wanted to go back in time and become the kind of person who noticed everything. Instead, she did what the present allowed. She called a tenant's clinic. She found a storage unit with the first month free. She helped him label boxes. She asked the landlord for 3 extra days. On the last afternoon, Darnell handed her the apartment keys. "You didn't do this," he said softly, as if he could see the weight on her face. Mara nodded, but she cried after he left. Not because she had failed him, because she cared, and caring hurts when it meets a closed door too late. Weeks later, a postcard came from across town. Darnell had found a room near his cousin and extra shifts at another hospital. At the bottom he wrote, "Thank you for helping me leave with dignity." Mara taped the postcard inside her supply closet. She did not tape it there as proof that everything had turned out fine. It had not. But the card reminded her that even when you cannot prevent the fall, you may still soften the landing. That is sometimes enough. Maybe you have been carrying something like that, a conversation you think you should have handled better, a person you could not convince to stay, a child, a friend, a parent. or a dream that moved in a direction you could not control. Maybe you keep returning to one moment and rewriting yourself inside it. In your mind, you become wiser, calmer, quicker, braver. You say the perfect words. You make the perfect choice. Nobody gets hurt, but real life is not built from perfect hindsight. Real life gives us partial information. Tired bodies, hidden pain, bad weather, broken systems, and other people's freedom. You are responsible for your honesty. You are responsible for your effort. You are responsible for repairing what is truly yours to repair. But you are not responsible for being the sky, the road, the system, the past, the timing, or the locked room inside another person's heart. Put down the weight that does not belong to you, not because you do not care. Put it down because you do, because love becomes cleaner when it is not tangled in punishment, because presence becomes stronger when it is not pretending to be control, because people do not need you to bleed quietly in order to prove that your heart is good. Tessa could not clear the stormed up Ben could not carry every student across. Every hard season, Mara could not see through a door someone was not ready to open, but each of them stayed human. Each of them offered what was real. Each of them learned that peace begins when compassion stops trying to become control. Tonight, if there is a burden in your chest with someone else's name on it, breathe slowly. Ask yourself one honest question. Is this mine to repair, or only mine to grieve? Then do the brave thing. Repair what is yours. Grieve what is real, and gently, finally, put the rest down. Ko Ls by HCC Arch T Hungin, Bon Kang Phi LSC, Now Kung CNN, Gigi Fitch, Nen Kang Kao, CAM Chen, Goi Ki, Bon Chia, CNN, Chen SSB, NUN, In. VA Tip T, DC Psi, CM Unbon Gzem, Video. Niu Kao, Chian, Nako Ijia, VVI Bon. Hai Hung Kayin, Inner Shift, Ji Lung Eng. Dung Na, The Nay.